after. So what happened here? Tom Pelissero has the story.
Everyone involved knew there was a faction of player representatives who were committed to rejecting the proposed collective bargaining agreement that owners had voted to approve on Thursday. What we didn't know is today's conference call would begin with the NFLPA Executive Committee, which negotiated the deal, voting 6-5 not to recommend it to the Board of Representatives. Now, there are a lot of factors in that, but the biggest one is a fundamental opposition to a 17-game regular season schedule and whether or not they had gotten enough in return to even consider it. The conference call lasted about 3 hours. It became heated at times. It ended with no vote and a lot of issues still to sort out. The plan now is for NFLPA leadership and the NFL Management Council Executive Committee to meet next Tuesday in Indianapolis. No major changes at that time expected to the proposed CBA, but at least a chance to get face-to-face in the same room and discuss the issues before the board and then all players cast their votes.
6 days away from the 2020 NFL Combine and 5 years removed from this day in Combine history, it's the day that Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota took the field for their Combine workouts, setting the stage for them to go first and second in the 2015 NFL Draft. Fast forward 5 years. Now they're both free agents or set to become free agents, and one of them is on David Carr's list of the best available quarterbacks, either through free agency or the draft. And it is Marcus Mariota, who is actually, interestingly, ahead of Ryan Tannehill, who is the guy who took his job this year. Why is that the order, Mr. Carr?
I put a premium on big picture things in this list, not just a fix for a year. I wanted to see, first of all, with the Marcus Mariota thing, I don't think that his potential has been tapped. I don't think that he's been utilized correctly as far as his skill set goes at any time in Tennessee. I know they tried to dabble in some zone read stuff, maybe some spread offense stuff. He didn't use his legs nearly enough. There weren't enough schemed runs for me. I think that his potential is still untapped. Ryan Tannehill is a fantastic quarterback. He did a great job this year for Tennessee, but I think that just the style of offense that they asked them to run, Ryan Tannehill was the best option. So if Marcus can think about what they're doing with Taysom Hill and Lamar Jackson and just the way that the game is evolving in the NFL. Marcus Mariota is a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that did the same thing and throws the football pretty well from the pocket. So I still think there's a lot of left in him.
Any teams in particular that you could see using him in that manner?
If Tom Brady doesn't play for the Patriots anymore, I think that Bill Belichick would love to dabble in that type of offense. I think that from a schematic standpoint, it creates so many problems for offenses. Why wouldn't the best coach of all time want to take a shot at doing something like that?
Why isn't Jameis Winston on your list?
Jameis is, full disclosure, Phillip Rivers is 10, and Jameis Winston, they were kind of neck and neck for me. And for the longest time, it's been turnovers. When you're an experienced veteran quarterback, you just can't lose football games for your team. And that's what Jameis consistently has done. He's got tremendous talent, throws for 5,000 yards pretty much whenever you want him to, but he throws it to the other team too many times. And Phillip has just done it less. He did it a little more often this year, but Phillip, I still think, has enough in him of where he can at least flip that switch and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put my team in this situation. Unfortunately, Jameis has done this his whole career. He's a talented quarterback. I just don't know at this point, playing this long, if you should still make those type of decisions and bad throws.
Another guy who isn't on your list, but whose name has come up a little bit this offseason and whose name you actually happen to share, your brother. Seems to be having some fun with all of this talk about quarterbacks changing teams. He posted this picture with Khalil Mack yesterday with no caption. Raiders fans freaking out. What does it mean? Is he going to Chicago? Then he posted this Insta story today of lions at the zoo with no context. Was he at the zoo, David? What is your brother doing to us?
His son's favorite movie is Trolls. I don't know. He's just having fun. It's the off season.
That's not nice, Derek.
Just hanging out.
Okay. Well, this was fun talking quarterbacks with you. We've also got a pretty good running back here today, and I'd love to get his thoughts on a few guys at that position, guys that Michael Robinson ranked like this, his top 10 available running backs this offseason, again, via free agency or the draft. No surprise that he has Derrick Henry at the top of the list. He has Kenyon Drake at number 2. He has DeAndre Swift from Terrell Davis's Georgia Bulldogs at number 3.
How about them dogs?
Anyone here on this list, TD, that you would like to see go to a specific spot? Let's play a little matchmaker.
Yes, that's juicy right there. But I'm going to go to one person on that list that I would love to see them play in a certain place here. How about the number one guy on that list? Derrick Henry going to the Seattle Seahawks.
What?
Think about this. Remember Beast Mode 1.0?
Ooh.
Remember many years ago that young Beast Mode doing those things for Seattle Seahawks? They don't have that guy. Chris Carson missed last year a little bit of that season. But if Derrick Henry is in the backfield with Russell Wilson and they run that read option, that run with that man leading the charge, imagine what that would look like.
That's a real
that would be a hard train to stop. So that's my dream right there, to see Derrick Henry playing in Seattle with Russell Wilson.
I like it very much. Titans fans are not going to like it at all. So go ahead and let him know on Twitter. I'm just kidding. Leave him alone.
That's my
I
dream.
can't imagine the Titans are going to let him get away, right?
Probably
Tag
not.
something.
No, he's not
whatever.
going anywhere.
He has to come back.
But if he was.
Anyway, that's what he thinks Seattle should do. What about the Saints?
Energy, emotion, play fast, play for each other. That's it. Who that? Breeze looks to throw, front corner of the end zone, touchdown. Who that? Breeze makes the handoff, wide open, touchdown. 19 years, over 76,000 yards, 540 touchdowns. Drew Brees, take a bow.
Drew Brees, already the NFL's passing leader in roughly 800 categories, says that he is coming back for a 20th year in the NFL.
I mean, the grind.
In 2020.
Clearly, he got up to the top of that mountain.
It's perfect.
Climb that thing again.
He's going to make another run at it. What does this mean for the other two quarterbacks on his team that are set to become free agents in a couple of weeks? Taysom Hill and Teddy Bridgewater.
It's a difficult situation for Sean Payton, for everyone involved. I mean, I know you have three good quarterbacks. You'd think that would be nice, but two of them potentially could leave, and you don't really know. You have no control. You don't know if a team's going to offer Taysom what he wants and to be a quarterback and to maybe do something like similar to what Lamar Jackson is doing. You don't know if someone's going to offer Teddy. What if you might end up without either one of those guys, and then that takes a big hit on your offensive scheme because Taysom was a huge part of that, and then you're kind of left with Drew, who maybe only has a year, realistically left, and then you lose your franchise quarterback for the future. So it's a difficult situation for Sean Payton. And if you're Teddy Bridgewater, you want to say, hey, man, I want Sean Payton to be my coach. I want to be the quarterback for the Saints. I won 5 games this year as the quarterback for this team. I don't necessarily want to leave for a worse situation. So you kind of have to have that conversation, and hopefully Drew will be honest with you and tell you.
Okay, I've got 2 follow-up questions here.
Go for it.
One, are they both starting quarterbacks?
I think Teddy has proven he is. I don't know about Taysom.
No?
I would agree with that.
I just don't think so.
You agree with that?
I think Teddy is. Teddy's already proven that in Minnesota. Obviously, the 5 games he started this year, we saw that. So, and who is going to pay Taysom to be their starting quarterback?
Yeah.
To me, he's a complimentary quarterback, just like a running back. You bring him in, he complements the starting quarterback, gives you a little bit more flexibility in your offense, especially if you have a true pocket passing quarterback. He can do that. So, but my twisted mind, I think about him going to Baltimore. Because
to back up Lamar.
Yeah, because I'm like, listen, if you're John Harbaugh, you've committed to an offense of scheme that relies heavily on your quarterback, right? Physical gifts.
And a specific
you've got to go deep with that. You got to have your second guy. They have RG3, but now you got to have a third guy to really come in there. And if you're going to commit to it, commit to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I like that, actually.
Yeah, a little twisted.
I agree. He's a role, another quarterback that would be inserted kind of like how he is in New Orleans. I would use him the same way.
What about from a Saints perspective? Let's say you can only keep one of them financially. You're going to pay Drew. Now you're choosing between Taysom or Teddy. Which one would you want if you were the Saints? Teddy? Yeah,
I kind of would say Teddy, too.
Because he's more of an heir apparent style, and you don't think that Taysom is necessarily the
guy to take over? I think Taysom's fantastic, and I think he's almost he's excessive for Sean Payton. You don't need him.
What do you mean he's excessive?
He's another piece that you give a great play caller that he can put him in different places, and he just makes their offense that much more explosive. You can get another guy. Well, you can get another guy like that, though. I think you can get guys that can do what he does on the offensive side. Now, maybe you can't get him to do that on the offensive side and special teams and quarterback.
So he's almost like too talented for the role that you have available for him.
And if it's that much money, then you can grab another guy. But Teddy, you already know he's a good quarterback, and he plays well in your system, so just keep him around if we can.
That's a good question. What do you pay Taysom as a quarterback?
What do you pay him as?
Slash?
He played more at wide receiver.
He's going to definitely negotiate a quarterback rate.